A new war in the Middle East, an ongoing war against Ukraine, and Donald Trump in the White House. These are eventful, not to say challenging times for NATO, the North Atlantic Defense Alliance. Let's talk about all this with one of the smaller countries of NATO, with Latvia. With me is today the Defense Minister of Latvia, Andris Spruds. Mr. Spruds, Donald Trump is asking NATO countries to send help for his war in Iran, against Iran, to the Strait of Hormuz. Otherwise, he says, NATO has only a bad future if that does not happen. Do you feel blackmailed by Donald Trump somehow, the American president?
It is a US and Israeli mission, offensive against repressive Iranian regime. It is not a NATO mission. Of course, we now are having some discussions how we can, in general, contribute to the wider global security. NATO has been strong and viable for years. Sometimes we have had some disputes within alliance, also with United States, but we believe that we should not always over-focus on every statement, but we should focus on practical cooperation. And practical cooperation within NATO has been positively valued. It's highly appreciated also in Latvia. There are American soldiers in Europe, there are American soldiers in Eastern Flank, there are American soldiers also in Latvia. And of course, we are willing closely cooperate with the United States, having those transatlantic relationship, and be it in the practical level to be implemented.
Your host today, the German Defense Minister Boris Pistorius, said, "This is not our war." Do you agree?
Well, this is primarily the United States and Israeli mission, the offensive against the repressive regime. And I could agree that, of course, there has now been discussions within NATO. Now we also see that it is now a common interest, of course, to ensure the global stability. So there are also the discussions among the NATO members, among allies. But once more, yes, we can agree that the mission was started and strikes against repressive regime was implemented by United States and Israeli armed forces.
But can you afford to make Donald Trump upset or angry in this point if you don't follow his demands? Is there not the danger that he then would say, well, I help you in Ukraine, you help me there? Will the American focus shift away from Ukraine, for example?
We have to take into account that we are all allies within NATO. And viability and strength and resilience of NATO is crucial for everybody. For Latvia as a small nation, but also for Germany, for United States, we believe. So yes, we experience those disputes, and it's not the first one. We already have had some disputes also on some other issues. But again, it doesn't fundamentally, so far and so good, it doesn't change fundamentally those dynamics within NATO. Also agreement on 5% in the Hague summit, and I believe the Hague summit within NATO community was a success story. Now we experience another episode in our mutual relationship, and of course we all need to adjust, but at the same time, yes, we can underline this is a strikes and a mission which was primarily implemented by the United States and Israeli armed forces against repressive Iranian regime.
Donald Trump is now loosening some sanctions against the Russian oil industry. That must be a severe blow in your mind, isn't it? I mean, he's providing Russia with new funds.
We believe that Russia must be punished for what it has done in terms of killing the innocent civilians, invading sovereign, independent neighboring country, violating all international norms. So yes, Russia must be sanctioned. United States has done a lot in terms of sanctioning and pressurizing Russia and also supporting Ukraine, and it's highly valued. It is also what Europeans are doing. that sanctioning Russia and 20 packages of sanctions against Russia are being implemented. And yes, that's why the permanent pressure on Russia, as Donald Trump, as the President Donald Trump, and also the Secretary of War Pete Hegseth has said it and has expressed it. It's a peace through strength. We have to negotiate, we have to act from positions of strength with Russia. The weakness is what is Russia encouraging and inviting for some additional imperialistic steps globally, regionally. So we believe that sanctions must be kept, sanctions must be implemented, Russia must be pressurized because it has violated all international norms and still continuously killing innocent civilians in Ukraine.
You are a staunch supporter of Ukraine, of course. When it comes to practical terms, the Americans and also the Gulf states are using hundreds of rounds of air defense munition right now. Do you fear that there's not enough left actually for Ukraine to be provided to Ukraine because they're all using it?
Well, we must admit that some diversion of attention has taken place, that war in the Middle East, it has also attracted more attention away from Ukraine, that it has raised the questions about resources, military resources, especially in terms of air defenses. Yes, there is a concern in this regard. So it once more underlines that support for Ukraine, continuous support for Ukraine, cannot be given up and it should be continuously provided. In this case, a lot, considerably more also by Europeans, that we need to invest in air defenses and we need to invest and we need to establish a strong partnership with our industrial partners in Europe and more widely as well. These things are taking place, but sometimes we would hope that they could be faster. And that war in the Middle East just once more is a reminder that we live in a challenging world, that security of our people must be ensured and industry plays extremely important role in this regard.
You are at the eastern flank of NATO, you have a direct border with the Russian Federation. So how does it feel to be a direct neighbor of Vladimir Putin?
Well, I would underline that it's Latvia being direct neighbor, but this is also NATO being direct neighbor. There is one NATO, there are no Latvia's NATO or Germany's NATO or United States NATO. There is a NATO which is uniting 32 nations, and threat or potential attack against any NATO country would mean attack against everyone. This is Article 5, this is a principle of a NATO alliance. So that's why, yes, we are protecting the external border of NATO and EU together, and we've been living next to Russia for years, decades, centuries, and we of course know the true nature of Russia, and it is not just Putin's Russia, it's also Russia's Putin. We know that Russia has those unfortunate imperialistic ambitions, and it has been unfortunately and tragically proven in Ukraine, and we have to be ready against any hybrid risks, attacks or threats, and of course also against conventional any kind of scenarios, and build together our defenses and contingency planning within Latvia together with our joint allies, our allies within NATO. That's why I believe that we are doing our homework. We feel that there are challenges, but there is no time for some fear or some time for the deep concerns. There is time for action, what we do as a nation state, action what we do together with our allies within NATO, including United States, but also of course Germany, Canada, Sweden, Denmark and other nations which are strongly represented in Latvia.
Mr. Minister, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much for having me.